everyone, it's Alice, and today I'm gonna do my spring TBR. I gotta be honest, I feel like it's a little early to do this because it doesn't feel like spring here yet. Like, we've had a couple of days where it's felt a little bit like that, but mostly it's still pretty cold. And now that I've jinxed it, I'm sure there will be snow on the ground tomorrow. And I like winter, but I'm a little over it now. I would like to see some green grass and some leaves and some flowers. I think spring is lovely if it would just show up already. It is a little funny though that I'm complaining and saying that I would like it to be like brighter and a little sunnier and like I would like spring to arrive, but then when the sun comes out I'm like, no, thank you. I will be staying inside. Anyways, let's get into the books. That's why we're all here. I'm gonna start with some short story collections because this year I'm trying to get back into them and so far I'm succeeding. So I feel like I'm in a good groove and I want to keep it going, so I have these two. The first one I have is one that I got quite recently. It's Spirits Abroad by Zen Cho, and I got this kind of on a whim. I always find it very difficult to suss out what a short story collection is about, and it's always hard to explain as well, and I just sort of go on vibes. So I liked this cover, and it has like fantasy magical realism elements, which I usually like, and I do think that this also has some science fiction to it, which sounds very cool. The second one is one that I've had for a few years. It's Love in Color by Bolu Babalola, and this retells love stories from history and mythology. I think mainly focusing on folk tales from West Africa, but there are also some Greek myths in here. There's some stuff from the Middle East, and it sounds really good. I've heard a lot of good things about this and I really like this cover, and I'm intrigued to see what I find in here. I'm not the biggest romance reader, but I have a feeling that this is really gonna work for me. Moving on to novels, we have got Chlorine by Jade Song, which again, beautiful cover, and this is apparently a mix of a coming-of-age story and an unsettling horror tale, which sounds right up my alley. It's about a swimmer who is still in school, I think, and all she likes to do is swim. It's all she ever wants to do, and I think the story is about her obsession and her wanting to be free in the water no matter what, and I think we're gonna take some weird and dark turns. I don't really know, but I feel like maybe we're going in the direction of mermaids, maybe? I don't know, but it sounds really cool. Another water-related book that I have is Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. I really wanted to get to this last year, but alas, I did not, so I really want to try and get to it soon, at least this year. I've heard a lot of interesting things about this book, and all of them really make me think I'm really gonna like this. It's about this couple, and one of them returned from a deep sea mission that ends in catastrophe, and her wife is super happy to have her back, and it seems like she comes back and she's not quite there. I don't really know. It seems like maybe she brought something with her back up to the surface. I don't really know what's going on, but it sounds like my kind of horror. Like, it's a little weird and sort of uneasy. I'm really excited to read this because I do know that I already like this author's writing because I've read a short story collection by her and I thought it was great. So I'm excited to read something else by her. And it will be interesting to read a full novel. And I'm very intrigued to see how dark this gets. Then onto a historical fiction book. We have Hello Beautiful by Napolitano. And this is a book that I just have a feeling that I'm really gonna love, and I don't really know what I'm basing that feeling on, so I'm trying to like reel it back in because I don't know why I think I'm gonna like this so much. And it's not great to go into books with like super high expectations sometimes, so yeah. I just have a feeling though. It's funny as well because I barely even know what this is about. I think it's about this couple who meet at college, and this guy comes from quite a tragic background, and he, like, when he meets this woman, her family really takes him in and he sort of becomes a part of the family, but then his past rears its ugly head, and this really affects the couple's relationship, but it also seems to affect some of the relationships within that family. There seems to be a part of this book though that is about these sisters, and I love books with like sisters and sibling relationships. I always think that's interesting, and I do really like books where we explore different family dynamics. So I don't know, I just think that this is really gonna work for me. Maybe it's the cover that makes me think I'm really gonna like it. I don't know. have never read anything from this author either, but I just think I'm gonna love it. Next, we have a book that I've had for a few years now. It's The Mothers by Bennett, which I got because I read The Vanishing Half by this author and I loved it. And then I got this book because I was like, I gotta read something else from this author. And then I didn't read it. I haven't read it yet. Sometimes it just takes me a while to get to the books that I buy. I say sometimes, it happens all the time that it takes me a while. It's set in Southern California and it's about these two young people who get together and they're like, they have a relationship but it's not very serious, but I think it ends in a pregnancy, and the story is about the fallout of the sort of cover up of that pregnancy and how that affects all of these people throughout their lives. I think that's what this is about. It sounds really interesting. Honestly, I would read almost anything that this author writes because I liked that other book so much. So I'm excited to get back into this because, well, not get back into it, get back into this author because I loved that other book and I really liked the writing and the way she wrote characters. Like, it was such a good book. So I want to read something more. I'm not great at like reading more books by authors that I like, and I kind of want to get better at it. Then the next few books that I have are all sort of on the lighter side of things, at least I think so. I can't be reading all of these serious books all of the time. I need some breaks sometimes, and it's nice to sort of mix it up a little bit. This one looks really good. It's What You Are Looking For Is in the Library by Michiko Aoyama, and this is translated from Japanese, and I'm just getting a very like calm, bookish, nice vibe from this book. I don't think it's going to be too serious. This follows a librarian in Tokyo who has the ability to see into other people's souls, and because of that she's able to like recommend the people who come into the library the perfect book, which is a really cool superpower. Like, I wish that I could do that. That's all I really know about this book. It sounds really nice. I love books about books. I love reading translated books. I like books set in Tokyo, so I feel like this is going to be the perfect mix. Speaking of books about books, I also have Bookshops and Bonedust by Travis Baldree. This is the prequel to Legends and Lattes, which I loved. It was such a cozy book, and I think about that book all of the time, and specifically about this ratkin baker that we meet in that book. I think about him all of the time, and he makes me happy every single time he crosses my mind. Anyways, I don't think he's going to be in this book. This one follows the main character of Legends and Lattes before the events of that, while she's still in her adventuring days, and I think she gets injured and she has to spend time in this sleepy beach town to recover, and she spends all of this time in a bookshop. Now, this may not have this ratkin baker in it, but apparently there's a gnome in here, which I think I'm going to enjoy. Then we have a book that I don't really know what to expect from. To be honest, I don't think I'm going to love this, but I'm hoping this will just be like a fun, good time. I don't really know, but I have it, so I just want to give it a go. It's Love in the Time of Serial Killers by Alicia Thompson. This is a romance book, which I don't read a lot of because I usually don't end up loving them, but I just got this on a whim a while ago and I just want to give it a go. It follows this PhD student who is obsessed with true crime, and I think she becomes like convinced that her neighbor might be a serial killer, but then he's also kind of attractive, and so I'm guessing there's something going on. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from this. It says the TikTok bestseller on the back, and to be honest, that doesn't make me feel any better. But we'll see. I'm hoping this will just be like fun, I guess. Lastly, I have a couple of graphic novels that I'm really looking forward to. The first one is The Princess and the Grilled Cheese Sandwich, and this is a fantasy romance about this lady who wants to live life on her own terms without marrying, and then I think her father dies, and because women cannot inherit in this world, she ends up moving to the capital city and disguising herself as a man, and then there's something about this beautiful princess, and I'm guessing things get a little bit complicated. This sounds and looks super cute, and I really like the color palette of this. There's pink and purple and blue and green, and it just looks really cute. I also really like when food is a part of books, and I do like a good grilled cheese sandwich, so I'm hoping that will make an appearance in here. This looks beautiful. I think this is gonna be great. It looks super, super cute. The second one is The Firelight Apprentice by Bree Paulsen, who is, of course, the author and illustrator of the Garlic graphic novels, which I loved, so I'm really excited to read something else by her. This one follows two sisters who live in this magical kingdom, and I think the younger sister starts coming into her magic and she needs to be sent off to be trained, but the older sister is a little apprehensive. But then this group of magicians comes into town and they agree to take her, like the youngest sister, on as an apprentice, and she's really excited about this new adventure, even though she has to leave her sister behind. And that's all I really know. I think it's gonna be great. I loved the Garlic books, so I'm just assuming this is going to be as good. I love this author's illustration style, and again, I like the color palette. There seems to be a lot of green and red. It's a little darker than that other one, but I really like the way she illustrates characters and their expressions and faces and stuff. And I'm excited to see the magic as well. Oh, I just think it's going to be great. Anything this author slash illustrator comes out with, I think I'm gonna love. Like, I hope she makes loads more books. I wonder if this is the first in a series. I kind of hope so, because that means we get more. I haven't even read this yet, and I already know I want to read them. Alright, that was the last book in my stack, and as always, I would love to know if you have made a spring TBR yourself yet, if you're gonna make one at all. Maybe it's a little bit too soon. I don't know how spring is getting along where you are, but I would love to hear about it. As always, thank you very much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you soon. Bye!